So this is a no makeup day. I'm still really enjoying that nighttime exfoliant cream. Not exfoliant, emollient. Woo! We get the words wrong. But no, it really does keep my face from being really tight in the morning. This was a therapy session day, where I get to talk about more of my chronic post-traumatic stress disorder caused from religious and life abuse and trauma. Just so exciting. Very exciting. Not really. It's depressing, but that's life. It's life, and there's a lot of things in life that, frankly, they're awful, they're depressing, they don't make any sense, and then you're still stuck going through them every time, And I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, but God's not going to give you more than you can bear. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, but with Him you can face and go through all things. Who wants to? You shouldn't have to. You're dealing with that because people don't want to accept accountability for their actions, and they put you through literal crap, and then everybody wants to sugarcoat it or dismiss it or devalue it. You have the right to your feelings. You have the right to express what you went through. You have the right to have negative feelings. I'm tired of churches saying negative feelings mean sin, that you're entertaining sin. I did not entertain sin for my negative feelings. I have depression and anxiety, problems with fear and anger because of the hell I literally came through in my life, and a lot of it I dissociated from just trying to get through life and trying to tell myself I'm okay, and a lot of that dissociation and that gaslighting of self was promoted by religious ideologies. There's so many ideologies in churches that really dismiss, really are inconsiderate and lack empathy toward anybody who's came through a bad situation. They really do. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A lot of churches teach a lot of crap. A lot of churches really have no true understanding of your situation. I do presently go to the First Brethren Church, and I don't mean to say presently like I'm just going to drop them. I'm not planning on dropping them in any sense. They are the most soft touch and willing church I have seen to try to understand and just be there even if they don't understand why things bother me. But it still makes it hard to be there because they still talk about or share things in a way that to me it's hurtful because they're not comprehending how it's being taken by other people, and it's not me trying to be rude to them. It's just the churches, all of them, everybody, not just the churches themselves, but people in general. We're not being very mindful and considerate of each other. We're not. And those that try, thank you so much for trying. Like the First Brethren Church, they try. I love and appreciate that you guys try. I do. But yeah, I have those moments where things happen and it really like shakes me up, like they say, you get triggered, but a lot of times when people get triggered, they expect you to make the change. Okay. I was triggered. I need to communicate about what triggered so that they can understand where I'm coming from to whatever capacity they can, I need to communicate what triggered me because that's part of my healing, that I could talk about it and feel safe to talk about it. And in this moment of being triggered, I don't feel safe enough to talk about it. So, I mean, I'm praying for all the church family there they're trying so hard to walk with Anne because I know it's hard. I love the fact that they're willing and that they will discuss those things if I want to. And right now, I don't want to. I don't want to. That's not going to happen right now. But, and they're cool with that. They're cool with that. So this video is just me saying, don't let people gaslight you and your emotions and what you've went through. You have the right to talk about your life, your feelings. You do have to be considerate of people and places when you present those things. I mean, some subject matters are not meant for open air discussion, especially when there's kids around, so do be mindful of that. You don't want to traumatize the kids with your trauma. It's like, don't trauma dump with a lot of kids around and not expect that trauma dump to not make an impact on them in a bad way, because it will, but you can talk about it. You have the right to your feelings, even if they're negative. That's part of the baggage of other people entertaining sin and causing harm in your life. Does not in any way mean that you're entertaining sin, although some churches teach that. That's wrong. It's wrong. It doesn't mean if you're having negative emotions that you're in some way entertaining the devil or you're wrong, you're at fault. You know what? Even God created negative emotions. The devil can't create. God created them. So at some point, you would have a means to express and understand something's not right. So God created those things so that you would have a means to help you sense and recognize something's not right, to help you express when something happened that shouldn't have. The negative emotions were designed to help you know when you're doing things you shouldn't, or other people entertain things they shouldn't and when they harmed you. But negative emotions were created by God. They're not sin. So if you needed a reminder, you're free to discuss your life, to have your emotions and feelings, to share those things or not share them, connect with people or don't connect. No one owns you, no one controls you, and if they're trying to, they're a problem. Your walk with God is between you and God. If you want to connect with a church, great. If you don't, great. I don't think it really matters. It's what works for you in your life as you decide you want to embrace those things or not. I would never twist your arm, look at you and tell you, you have to be there. I'm not going to do it. You need to do what God has laid on your heart and mind to do, or what you feel is not going to cause more harm in your present situation. And if that means never coming to church, that's fine. God knows you if you never walk into a church building. They didn't have church buildings way back when. They had altars, ritual routines. And honestly, church today is not different from it. They have altars and they have rituals and routines. The traditions of men. But God never needed those. He just needed an individual who wanted to come to him, who would listen when he'd speak, and he would guide him into more. And Abraham is our prime example of that one. Noah, prime example. Even Mary's story. There's so many of them. And what they did was they heard from God and they trusted him, nobody else. So if you're having a rotten day, a great day, a mediocre kind of day, you're not alone. God's with you. And we take one day at a time. Sweet Jesus. Thank God it's one day at a time. I don't want to face more than one day at a time. One's enough. I'll talk to y'all later.